for staying safe at home, and safe with electricity, and you know, in ways to conserve, how best to use. And this time, they brought us lovely ears to celebrate Easter.
Hey, they look great.
And ice cream. So, you know, thank you very much, Ray and Dave. We really appreciate your support, and you guys are always a bit, you know, that we've got questions, we know we can call you. If something's going on and somebody's home, we know we can call and get advice and support, and that's very, very meaningful to us. So I appreciate everything that you do.
My pleasure.
But, so, we'll turn it right to you, so I've got, but afterwards, we can have ice, you know, we'll eat dessert first, then lunch, unless you really don't want to. You can have lunch first and then dessert.
Well, welcome to the Dave and Ray Show. Dave is the manager for the light department, and what I do for the utilities, especially most of the municipals, is I do educational programs on safety, conservation. We do the schools. Now I've been requested to work with first responders, especially after this winter. What you learned here today, I'd like you to share. We have a little handout. We'll give you, it's a little packet, you know, some things we go over. And Dave says he's going to have a test for you, so.
No, brother.
No. That's a paid thing.
Maybe I will.
Maybe not. But we'll have that. But most important is door prizes. For everybody, you'll get the nice LED flashlight.
Nice.
Yeah, that. It has a red. Then you hit it again. Then that is good to keep in your car. Then it has a magnet to stick to the door or your refrigerator, which is good. Or if you have a closet or something, you can hang up.
Nice.
So you
They're
got
great to have on the refrigerator.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Jam, grab it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so,
that's good.
and I know you don't lose power much up here in Georgetown. They do a terrific job. But sometimes, you know, it's like anything else. The lights might go out, but the one thing Georgetown has is the municipal light. There are two different types of light departments. There's the investor-owned, those are the big guys like National Grid, and then Eversource, which is a huge one. It's 5 of them now. But the municipal is owned by the people, not shareholders. So you got a call, you know where we're at. How many of you know where Pam is at? People, right? They do a great job in the office.
Pam and Karen.
Pam
We
and
go
Karen.
visit, I go visit them.
There you
Yeah,
go.
me too.
But that's so important because when we do outage studies, is when you call, you don't have a call center. The big ones, like up this way, Andover, what have you, National Grid, they have call centers. They'll go out to different places and dispatch. At least when you call here, they know where you're at and they can respond in a timely manner. And that's important because yes, we try to do a good job to maintain power, but thunderstorms come through, blizzards come through, but we're there to help. And the big thing is, what a lot of people don't understand is I call it the big three. There's Georgetown is up here, he's a first-class lineman, but he's also the manager. Then down is in Groveland, is Mike, he does the same thing, he's a lineman. And then over in Raleigh, is that gentleman is also at Dan Folding. So what that means is people don't realize, if something happens, he can get right in the bucket and go up. And if somebody gets hurt, something, which, you know, is very important because it takes years to be qualified to do that. So actually, he wears many hats. But one of the big things that's changed over the years before we get into this, when I started this 25 years ago, the light manager role was, hey, the lights are on, things are good. But now Dave will mention, he goes to a lot of meetings, and you heard talk about why electricity rates are going up and things like that. So Dave has a lot of paperwork to do. He has to work a lot with the government today. None of that was involved. Oh, come on in, sir. Here we go.
Hey, young folks.
Here.
The youngins are here.
Come on in, right here. Yeah, I'll put that down.
You sit in my lap?
There you go.
How you doing?
Geez, you're bound to get someone
I'm
there,
trying,
aren't you,
I've been
today?
trying.
Fancy
Yeah.
them.
Yeah.
We'll have to separate.
Oh, in the seat, it's more stiff. Okay.
All set? Thank you for coming. It's all right. As I was mentioned, the world of electricity has evolved. Dave is very active in all the managers politically today, and he can share that with rates and things like that, why they're changing. Let me get right into some of the things we saw this winter. And one of the big things we saw is a tremendous amount of snow and ice. Did anyone's house service get knocked off this year? The house service is the wire that runs from the street to the home. Any of those come down? Oh,
No.
right.
No.
The reason I mention this to you, any wires on the ground, don't touch or go near, all right? Sometimes people want to do our job, and we're professionals. The best thing you can do when you see a wire down is stay away and call 911. Oftentimes people say, oh, that wire way up top of the dangerous ones, or those are just the phone wires, or the fire cable. They're all dangerous because if something breaks, it's called stray voltage. It comes down. So let me give you an example. In 2008, we had an ice storm, and we had a gentleman went out to try and knock ice off wires. And he thought his shovel was a wooden handle. He took the wooden handle shovel to try and knock. Well, he's lucky he survived the accident. That's why we tell people, don't touch any wires or go near them. If you have ice or a thunderstorm comes through, wires come down, don't go near them, just call 911 and we'll get here and stay away. Because people think, oh, that the handle is made of wood, it will protect us. No, with today's higher voltages, it goes right through.
What happened to him?
He got knocked down, he's better now, he survived the accident, thank God. But he'll never touch a wire again.
He learned.
Yeah, he learned.
I hope he gets a new shovel.
I do too. But you know what his wife, but you know what his wife told me? She says, you can't tell a man anything, so I don't want to, because she was yelling at him, I'm going to handle it, boom, that was it. So that was the last thing, but that's the one thing, is you have a local utility. Something happens, you've got a question, you call us. The other important part is we're coming into spring and summer, so hopefully, is the service wire is bug spray. Now, Raid came out with a new type of bug spray, and you have to be careful. This spray protects you around power lines. See, years ago, they had one type of spray, and if you sprayed the wires, you get electrocuted. But you have to read the fine print document. But a lot of times people get nervous, and I think Dave would agree. If anytime you got bugs or hornet's nests, just call us. See, we use special bug spray that won't conduct electricity. Raid has one, but people get confused. You gotta read, if you go into the hardware store, you'll look, and both cans are the same, but you gotta look at the small print. One will conduct electricity, one will not. All right? So if when in doubt, especially around power lines, just give us a call. What we found over the years is they see us up there spraying. They say, oh, he must go to the local hardware store. Then they go buy some bug spray and they get electrocuted. So anything around wires, just give us a call and we'll be happy to come. Keep all ladders, anything near the wires at least 10 feet away. Say if you're going to have siding or painting, give the utility a call a day or two before. We can come out, we can put either disconnect.
We can cover it up with rubber goods and, yeah, so if you're doing a siding job or anybody's gonna paint, we can certainly help you there. Always call us. We're happy to come out, really.
Yeah, it's easier.
It's best.
Talking's easier than going to an accident. And
Yeah.
speaking about yard work is please, dig safe. And this is so important to understand, it's the law, okay? Anytime you go
Get
to,
in trouble.
yeah, anytime you go to put anything in the ground, a new fence, like Dave was mentioning, all those plows are around, or new mailbox, anything that has to go in, you have to call 811. Dig safe. Now, does it cost you money? No, it's free. It's a call center, then they dispatch the local utilities, and it's all marked out. Now, I want to share a story with you. I always run into this. People say, I've been in my house, Ray, 40 years. I said, yeah, I know where everything is, so don't assume. You know what happens when you assume. We had a man in West Boylston 2 years ago. He was digging, he nicked the gas pipe. He's lucky he didn't lose his life, but he received a hefty fine. He didn't call dig safe. What's happened is over the years, a lot of people have put natural gas in, things have moved, just call 811. Now speaking of this, is anytime, and I like to mention this, you smell natural gas. And I had an accident in Worcester, they were putting in a new street. The contractor did not call dig safe. He thought all the gas services were 16 inches for some reason. When he was cutting the street, he cut 5 home services. Yeah, that contractor received a record fine of $250,000. Okay, but if natural gas comes into your home, you smell it, it's like rotten eggs, get out immediately and call 911. Don't stay in the home, because if you call from the home, there could be an explosion. Don't get in the car because of the ignition. Just get out, go outside the home where there's fresh air, and you don't smell that rotten egg, then call 911.
Don't operate any switches in the
Nothing.
house, nothing. Don't do anything except leave the home.
Yeah.
Because there's even in the normal operation of a light switch, there's a tiny little arc that's enough to be an ignition source for that fuel that's all around you. So,
Yeah,
a lot of people don't think about that.
And they put the sneak in there, don't they?
Yeah,
That's
mercaptan,
right.
I brought some
Yep.
in, that's called mercaptan's rotten eggs, and they do put that in, because once you smell that, it's time to get out. Just leave the home, and don't look for your animals, you can leave the front door open, just get out and go to a nice wide area where there's fresh air, and then call from there. Go ahead. Yeah.
Someone told me that even if you don't have a pipe going from the street to your house, that it could still be part of an explosion. Is this the truth?
Well, natural gas does many things. If it ruptures next door, it can drift.
Yeah.
That means, uh-oh, there's natural gas. But once you smell rotten eggs, that's a warning sign. It's time to get out of the area. That's why it was put in. In 1939 in West Texas, there was a huge gas explosion in the school. There was no mercaptan back then. And that's why for years they didn't use it, because of what happened out in West Texas. Then they added the natural gas smell, which was the rotten eggs and mercaptan. So what that is, it's a warning sign. So early detection, it's time to get out and to move around. So that's important to understand. So once you smell those rotten eggs, it's time to go. Okay? Now, the other couple things outside is this. On our poles, we have fuses. And sometimes they get blown out, just like we have a fuse in our house, okay? Something might happen, it could trip. Like, I'll give you an example, some things that make it trip is Rocky, he gets up on the wires, okay? And boom, the door opens. It gets blown up and the crew has to go look around. So that's why sometimes people will ask, why do the trucks drive up and down the street? Well, we have to look and patrol the lines. Now, Dave's crew is very good at that, but sometimes, people say a fuse will go out. This is what they look like. I brought one of these in. It lights up neighborhoods and things like that, just to give you an idea. You can come up and look at it later on. And we have special ways we open and close them to stay safe. Now, within the home, we have things that do trip, and we have to be careful. As I mentioned, and I brought in the article, power strips. The biggest problem today with power strips is overloading. And people always ask me, well, how many things can I plug in? Well, I brought in the handout, and it explains it right here. The most a power strip can use is 15 amps. Once you go over that, you have to unplug it. Now, this will explain the do's and don'ts of power strips. One of the things you have to understand is this. Space heaters, microwave ovens, electric blankets, they'll tell you, do not put into the power strip. They use too much electricity. Air conditioners, anything like that. A power strip is designed to help maybe put a lamp in, things like that. You look on the bottom, it says 2A, 3A, 4A, that's the abbreviation for amps. You add them up, and if it's more than 15, it's time to unplug it. The big thing we want you to do is to inspect your power strip. Make sure it's not too close to the baseboard heat, that it's not dirt, like dust kitties get near it, or it's not under a bed. Oftentimes, especially in the summer, sometimes we have a lot of things plugged in, feel the warmth. Go over and inspect it, and you can do that. Now, a big part of the electric bill, we broke it down with a chart on here, which I'll pass these out. Just to give you an idea. It's like school. Page 3, I'll just go over the whole page use with you. Take a look at page 3. The numbers are up on it. Oh my gosh.
This is part of the show, folks.
Play a show. You know, hey, I just got your fingers.
My wife had one. How old are you, little boy? How old are you? Young, dropping all that stuff.
It happened. Like, you should have saw me as a paper boy.
Oh,
Oh, hey. On page 3, I'll explain. I'll just go into how many of you have heard about LED lights? Okay, I brought some in. Now, this one here is a standard light. Okay, this is what the old-fashioned light bulb. Okay, I'll put it up top. Okay, this costs $8.15 to use. Okay, it's 60 watts. This is the new one. They got different types. This is 60 watts. This is $1.08 per year. It's supposed to last 10 years. Okay, for 60. This is a different type. Then, say if you want to go in the home, replace several of them and do different things. This one here is 100 watts. And I like this one in the winter. It's only $2 a year to run.
That's what I like. 100 watts. Give us some light.
Yeah, so you can look in your room and look at different things. Instead of having 2 or 3, this can replace it. How bright it is. These have all come down around $5 now. Now, here's what LED, yeah. They do not,
they were very pricey.
yeah, they've come way down.
It's a
Yeah.
regular light bulb?
No, the regular light bulb they don't make anymore, but there's still a lot. But I'm showing you the new technology. Now, here's the one thing you have to understand. I do testing with these. What I mean is I use them myself. I go in, I buy them, and I have people write the date. Sometimes they make claims. Now, this one was I picked up in November 2014. It just died. Now, I went back to the store, and they says, oh, you got the receipt? I says, yeah, somewhere. They said, well, you got to take the receipt now and ship it back. Okay.
How long is it supposed to last?
10 years. Okay, 10, some say 10. No, I brought these in.
It's going through some growing pains.
And, yeah, like that's why I like to share this with you. Like this one here. Well, what I like is they haven't been out this long, so I don't know how they can come up with it. But this Philips one here is supposed to last 22 years. Okay. Yeah, they're all LED. These have no mercury in them.
What about those curling ones?
That was the first generation.
Contact fluorescence.
Yeah, the CFL. Like
They
ours.
do have mercury in them.
Yeah.
So they're kind of a, if you have something like that, you can always bring them down to us and we'll get rid of them.
Oh, really?
Yeah. We'll take care of it. I don't have a great system for it yet, it's kind of in transition, but if you bring them to us, we can bring them out back, and what we'll do is we'll dispose of them with our high pressure sodiums and the lamps that we take out of your streetlights. It's on my to-do list. I want to get a system where you can just come through the door and give those to us. But if you're in a pinch and you don't know what to do with them, please bring them down and we'll probably dispose.
He wants his money back, so what
15.
You have 15? Are they working?
Oh, brand new.
Yeah. Well, I think you can still use them. It's just the disposal piece. They just don't. They're trying to control the amount of mercury in the environment. Is there a lot in each bulb? Very, very little. But when they put these regulations into place, they're thinking on a grand scale. So that's all. It's not anything to be nervous about yourself. They're concerned about improper disposal. Yeah, and mercury ends up in the water. That's what happens to it. And it ends up in fish and everything else. And
Now, if he uses his bulbs, which you're gonna use your bulbs, right, you're using them,
I'm using it.
right, so what will he do when it doesn't,
I
when it
got the old
fails?
ones in the basement.
When it
the old
fails?
ones?
Yeah.
Yeah, if you want to bring them down, you can bring them down to us and we'll take care of them.
Okay.
Sure.
So would it pay us to buy that? Would our electricity bill
Well,
benefit?
yeah, it'll cut down the cost. Let me just go through this one more time to make, it's, oftentimes when changes happen, see, this is the standard old-fashioned bulb. This is $8.15 to use per year, 60 watts, right? Okay, that's the price. So that's $8.50. Now you go out and you buy the new bulb. It's around anywhere from, I've seen them from $3 to $5, the same type of bulb. Instead of paying $6 a year, this only uses, it's $1.08 per year. This is the this is the old fashioned or conventional right here for $8. And this is the new one here for $1. So you can see about $5.
Does the usage matter? I mean, suppose some people left theirs running all year. Is that the most amount, or does it matter?
Well, this is
If you only put
that's
it on once a week,
no.
how
This
do
is,
they get that figure?
okay, that's a good question. What they do is they base that on a 10-hour day.
Okay.
It's pretty good, especially the daylight saving time, things like that. That's what they test laboratories base it on. And don't forget, you know, a lot of people sleep, you're sleeping for 8, it's not on all the time, so that's a pretty good amount for a 10-hour base there.
Yeah, your electrical appliances are very, so I tell my kids, it's like leaving the water on. You pay for that. It's metered as it's going down the drain. So if your lights are on and you don't need them, you need them, but if you don't, you shut them off.
If you've got 2 televisions on, you're not really watching.
You
Instead
do
of
both
leaving
of them
it on all
on.
day, turn it off.
Yeah, getting back to that page, and what Dave has mentioned, I like to use this, it's what we call, well, heating you need, but I mean, things around the house you can unplug, appliances, and that's what we call vampire energy. Let me just show you this. Are these cords on or off? They're on. You know why? Because it's plugged in. It's drawing current. See, this is what we do. Right here, see? As Dave just mentioned, it's water. See, people don't understand. They say, well, it must be off because I don't see the light coming out. But if you have a power strip here, or you can unplug them, simply hit that. Now listen, nothing. I turn on the strip. The current goes through.
That's interesting, I didn't know.
Well, that's why we're here, to help you learn something new.
That's
So-
why you
Good
put
thing
it
I
where,
came today.
that's why you put it where you can reach them.
Reach
Don't stick
them.
them under the
Now,
bed.
now, just to share this with you, the next, as things evolve, the next one is the new power strips. These are kind of pricey, but what they do is the green automatically shuts things off. It doesn't sense it. The red is manual. See, years ago they came out with one that shuts it off. But if you had a fish tank plugged into here, the poor fish were in trouble, they'd shut it off. So they said, well, we can't quite make it that way. So it's like anything else, as it evolves, these might want to put like your toaster oven, unplug those things. Well, toaster oven shouldn't be, but we tell them unplug all those things. But this one could be like a cell phone charger, a little lamp, things like that you don't always draw. This is something that you might need on, like a clock or whatever. And this one here is built in for your computer or whatever. So these are known as smart strips. It's the next technology. They're kind of expensive right now, but this is what's out on the market. They're over $50. But it's like when the bulbs first came out, they were priced at $25. So, but I'm just letting you know what's coming down the road. Now, the other thing which I want to share with you is this, is lightning storms. Anytime there's an electrical storm, unplug your appliances. Power strips or surge protectors do not work in electrical storms. Okay?
Wow.
Always unplug them. They're so important. Don't take a bath or a shower in the storm. Wait till next Saturday night. Okay. All I gotta see if they're paying attention. You know.
Don't worry, we're
yeah.
old, but we can hear you.
Yeah, that's okay. But don't even use your cell phone, only your emergency. I had a lady, she was using a cell phone, and the house got struck by lightning, came out the outlet and hit the battery in here. Don't do any laundry, just no television. Just read a book, stay away from the windows, just wait till the storm goes by. And that's the one thing you have, is sometimes when there's electrical storms coming through, that knocks the power out. But we always get questions, and people have to understand, and say, we see the trucks, but when lightning's in the air, in the area, we can't go up in the bucket. We're the highest point. But we have to wait at least 30 minutes from the last thunder, because it's still in the area. Because some people say, why can't you get out there right away? Well, our safety is very important too. We want to go home to our families and things, and Dave is our leader, and we have to employ him. So we understand, but we also have safety guidelines. It's not like the old days when I was there, you go right up. But technology and safety is trained. We have to wait 30 minutes because the last boom, same thing in sports today. You gotta wait. It's just like we had that accident up at the beach. How many of you remember that in late fall? The ladies in Epic
Yeah,
Plains.
Ipswich.
Yeah, I have the kids in school. They all knew to get out. What happened is the ladies thought, oh, thunder. You guys see lightning. No. Once you hear thunder today, that means you're in striking distance of lightning. that means you gotta get it going inside. See, that's why they usually hear, well, that's heat thunder. It's often, no, that's an old term for like a live steel. Once you hear boom, you're in striking distance of lightning, take cover. And everybody got off, but the ladies thought, oh, that's heat thunder. We don't have to worry. Well, it turned out they do. But that's just the one thing we would like to share with you to understand. Now, speaking of we wear rubber gloves. This is an old one. Have them not put any yard sale signs or tacks or names. Sometimes in storms, you just have small holes. These get cut. And if we have to climb the old-fashioned way, go up the pole, and we touch a wire, we could lose our life. So we always tell people, don't nail things into our poles, because it's very, very dangerous. And speaking of cords I like to get to, is this, the blue cord. This is big in the winter, it's called for cold weather. See that orange cord I brought in? Got it all. This is not designed for cold weather. This one is, not the orange. This has a special jacket inside. It's like warm, so it won't freeze and crack. And always inspect your extension cords in the home. One of the things it's a good time of year is to take a look at the cords. And, you know, seasons change. A lot of times, we like to save things, right? Keep them, tape them up. What's a cord? Any of you have cords that look like this?
You got a cord
don't
like
have to
that?
raise
Alex.
your hand.
Not like that.
Alex.
That's okay. But once a cord's become broken and damaged, it's time for a new one. Let me just give you an example. Our devices today with technology use so much electricity. Now, look at the head here. I'll show you. It's kind of popped. Yeah, but the reason I point this out to you is what happens is sometimes people, if they're in a walker, they want to sit down. She took her hair dryer, plugged it into the light cord, turned it on, and popped the head. Started fire. This
Not
one-
her head, right?
No,
Yeah.
this head right here, yeah. We're gonna get to the other one.
Either or.
Yeah, okay, very good. But the thing I want to share with you is this little hair dryer uses so much electricity, as much as an air conditioning with the heat element. Gets over 450 degrees, yeah. That's how the technology has changed. Now, speaking of that, when Dave and I were doing our hair, because we knew Charlie was going to be here today, but we have to be very careful of hairspray. It's very flammable. And when you spray that, you see the mist that has alcohol. But what happens is, when we run into this, especially young girls with mothers and dance and things, or seniors, you're spraying a lot of this, and you can see the cone. Well, she was spraying it, and I guess, you know, boom, it hit the cone, and poof. So she had a very bad hair day.
I don't need it.
Well, I don't discriminate today. I don't want to get in trouble from the Ball Association coming after us, marching down on us, so, you know. Kind of fun. But that's the one thing, just keep this away from the vapor. That's what it is. We're spraying a lot of these. All the new hair dryers today are much more powerful than generations ago. Remember the old cone ones? You might remember, yeah, you said, I don't know. But those, believe it or not, these conduct twice the heat the old cone ones. Those are only 225. These are over 450 degrees. They're beauty powders. That's how it's changed so much. Speaking of change, and just go over a few more things with you, is just remember our overhead wires. We have the insulators, we have all of those things, is this. Electricity is always looking to go down to the ground. If a wire is down on the ground, or you hit a pole, now people say, well, I don't text and drive. Well, how many of you have been watching the news with distracted driving? With people hitting the home thing? Right.
You could get run into a pole from somebody that is texting and driving.
Yeah, you swerve.
Which is a lot of people,
Especially the state troopers.
unfortunately. They were on TV.
Well, what I want to share with you is if you do hit a pole, avoiding an accident, and the wires come down, as long as the car is not on fire, stay in it, you're safe. You can use your cell phone to call for 911. But the only time you get out, which is rare, is this. You open up the door, only if it catches on fire, open up the door, jump out with both feet, and shuffle heel to toe. Shuffle 2 telephone poles away. The reason being is when a wire hits the ground, and that's why I brought the sneaker up, is our electricity is so powerful today. You can walk in, we call it step electricity, I call it like a zone. You throw a rock, how many of you have thrown a rock into water and see ripples? But when a wire comes down, it sends off those invisible waves. And people say, my sneakers are made of electricity, things like that. They don't protect you. We have all the protective safety gear. Maybe in the spring or summer we can have a truck and you can show up sometime. I know Dave does a lot in the community in the fall. But we have all the hardware out. It's all changed so much today. Just like if we go through the accident, we have testers and things like that. We can pick up those zones so we don't get hurt, it'll beep. And so we know what to do. So, because people for a generation will go, oh, you just have to touch the wire. No, it's actually getting too close. And one of the things the doctors wanted me to share with you are these. How many of you use these bungee cords a lot? Okay. Please be careful. These two, I always tell people, I always emphasize this. I went to a safety meeting. Always wear safety glasses. Reading glasses don't work. If you have to use these, always have the glasses. Sometimes they could snap, they could let go, they take out eyes. So it's be careful, and always inspect them, especially if they're left out in the winter. You know, a lot of people use them over their air conditioners. Inspect them, but make sure you wear safety glasses when I'm doing any of those. And the last couple things just to share with you is there's some of the things is I brought in, they have all these things, command strips. See how I got the extension cord, I tested the heat. But say you have the baseboard heat, you can put these around your home and put the cord up in them. It won't pinch it, it'll keep it away from animals, anything like that. Then also, to get away from those cords, what I call cords.
Good save.
Sure, oh, go ahead.
What do you,
These, see how that cord, say you got a little white cord or something, see how those,
Okay.
these you don't want that right next to it, you can tack these onto the wall and put
So
that.
a little bit above the
Put
heater or
it above
whatever.
the heater, at least
And
6
then
to 8
just
inches.
Put the wire
Yeah.
right through that and it will hold it up
Yeah,
away.
yeah, those are good that way. And the other thing is, just to give you an idea, for cords, is you get away from those, is you can use these as a hook to hang things without the bungee cord. These are handy. And also the new Scotch things. All of these are getting away. We've had so many accidents. See, it opens up.
How would you mount it though on a, how do you mount it?
Well, okay. Well,
Or do you sling it over
Hang on a big
something?
wire.
you can have a nail, like you put it in, and you
Okay.
can put the cord here, and you hang that up like that. Is that, you understand?
Just, can I see it for a minute?
Sure.
Yeah.
Do you just get those at Home
No, I
Depot
don't
or
get
someplace?
Yeah, yeah, they're very inexpensive. They have all these things to make your life, and just like that one, you can hook onto the wall. There's a nice handle. I'll have all this out. You can come up and take a look. You know, I mean, these are all under.
Hook in the wall.
Okay,
That's
no,
what I mean. I
oh,
mean,
okay,
how-
you
you
put the
know-
nail into a wall or something, a hook,
Right.
and you put the handle up the top.
Usually there's a nail hole through one of this. That's how mine are at home.
Okay, yeah.
And you nail that in and then you can.
The anchor, yeah, some of them have that, some don't. These are the most inexpensive ones I looked at because a lot of people have their own anchors, or what they found is, I'll do it myself, I don't need the anchor, it'll have something there. So these things are pretty good to use. These are also good for grandchildren that don't like to behave.
so would you recommend getting that strip for computers?
I'll go over that with you. There's
That's really,
the power strips?
yeah.
Okay, if you go on to here, you got a question on power strip. Right here, it answers it. And what happens is, if you look at page 2, what happens is, it all depends on what you have plugged in. The big thing with a lot of computers, I have the iPad today, they don't use many amps, but when you start to add that printer in, that pushes it way up. So if you look at the top of page 2, you know, the computer is good, but when you start to max it out with the printer, that's, the capacity or the most you can use is 15. So would that be a smart move going to almost 15 or 14? No. So you'd have to go to a different outlet. But a lot of times now they're getting the wireless printers, or I have different iPads, but one of the things, and these are the most common things, is I tell people, put the printer on a separate circuit. Because right now, the most, remember, the most these can hold is 15. So you don't wanna push it. Do you understand? You know, you're at 54, 14 and a half over that, so that's a little bit too much. So but if you took the printer offline, put it somewhere else, that's over 9, so that's pretty safe use. Does that answer your question? If you look, see, if you just have a regular computer, that's safe, that's 2 amps and a little film. Yeah, printer's the one that pushes it. A lot of people don't understand the power of the printers, and I tell people put that on a separate outlet. Okay? We put this in here, and it lists every bullet that do's and don'ts. You see, you don't want like that picture. That's so common today, and that's why there's a lot of new buildings and things for updating, is when we moved into our homes, now our homes are like mini offices. And, you know, they have all of that stuff in them. How many of you have printers and computers at home?
Well, that's what he's got.
Okay, yeah, so there you go. Yeah, that's fine, it's on a different outlet, yeah, different circuit. Right, so you're all set.
Oh, do you have like a laptop? or something?
Laptop.
Yeah,
okay,
that's running on battery.
That's on battery.
They
That's
don't,
what-
they don't draw very much. I think, you know, Ray's point is that if you have a computer loaded up with all the peripheral devices that they can have, it's getting close. And where that comes from is a basic convenience outlet circuit in your house is 15 amps. Now, more than likely, 99% of the time, 95% of the time, if you overload that for a period of time, it's gonna open your breaker. When your breaker opens and you have to keep resetting it, something's wrong. So there's your breaker there, it's gonna trip it, and you go reset it. Oh, geez, what was that all about? That's inconvenient. If that continues to happen, you have to ask yourself some questions and say, look, that shouldn't be happening. That's not a good condition to have. Just split up your load. You know, if the printer's plugged in there, can I move it here and print it and plug it in over there? It's likely to help. Okay?
Now, so if you have a regular outlet that has 2 places to plug things in, is it
That's
15
the
for each,
same.
or
No, that's
15
the same
for-
circuit.
Okay.
Same circuit.
That's good to
And
know.
to be honest with you, in a room, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, that could actually be the same circuit. But, you know, us not all being interior electricians here, it's a good effort to just move it from somewhere, and that's a good start, because it's hard to tell. The National Electric Code, which governs the interior wiring of buildings, commercial and residential, allows more than one convenience outlet on a circuit. The understanding being that you might be vacuuming and unplugging, you're not using them all constantly at the same time. The big thing is if you have some type of action on a circuit breaker tripping, it's telling you something, and you should listen, not just keep resetting it. Okay? There you go.
Yeah, it's scary.
When the printer is plugged in and it's not been used, it's not drawing any power.
It's drawing
It's
some.
drawing a little bit.
A little bit.
When it's
But-
running and
but
printing,
I
it
can-
draws the
I
most.
can use something else in the same plug, doesn't hurt.
As long as it's not one of those things on a list, like a space heater or something like that. But if you're gonna
If the
put,
vacuum cleaner.
yeah, that'd be okay, yeah.
See, while it's printing, it's 9 amps. When it's not, it doesn't give you, but it's a lot less. But all these devices have memories and they're running behind the scenes, so they're drawing a little bit.
Yeah, you just break it off. Break it. As long as he's, if
And
he's
that's
doing
more of
both
an
at the same
economical
time.
thing. You know, you get these vampire loads sitting around and you know, your TV, when it's off, it's not really off. Nothing's really off
So I'll
anymore.
plug a few things.
So you have to ask yourself, you know, do I want to keep it plugged in?
Okay, all right, I think you'll be all right. Yeah.
My daughter, just a regular toaster.
No, they're not expecting.
That's off.
I mean, the one.
When it's
that goes
off.
expensive one.
Yeah. Unless it's some
Just the plain one.
if there's electronics in it and any, like clocks and things like that, there'll be a very little bit.
Yes,
My
that's all I
toaster,
said.
the cord isn't long enough to go in the wall from where
Yep.
I have it, so I have to.
Do you use an extension cord? Is there anything else plugged in it?
The microwave.
1050.
The microwave? You're getting up there with
Yeah,
that.
it mentions that.
Yeah,
Microwave,
that's a little bit. If you could break that up, it'd be good. But you haven't had any problems with your breakers or
If you
fuses or
don't
whatever?
use them one though, I mean, if you don't use them one,
Yeah, if you don't use them at the
Don't
same
use the
time.
two
Right,
minutes.
exactly. It is
Yeah.
cumulative, you're correct.
yeah,
Yep.
and to move your toaster.
one of the things you have to understand is when we put together these packets, I'm now part of, we have a meeting with the National Fire and with the electric light. We all like to get together and get on the same page. And that's the big thing that's changed over the years, is we have to recommend, there's no such thing as I can't say off the record. You know, today, if something that we put this in here, put out by the National Fire Protection Code, and we want to keep everybody safe. So yeah, we do go by the book because we're out to protect you. But you know, you have to use some common sense. If you're gonna start printing off multiple pages, I know most people print maybe 2 or 3 at the most. But if you're starting to use it, we run into now is a lot of kids have their iPads on. Schools are getting rid of books, they got iPad stations. That's a whole different avenue. But if you're just gonna do a couple pages, that's fine. You know, use common sense. But go home, we gave you a good checkpoint of things like that. And the big thing is that we mentioned microwaves. You gotta have the right, you should not plug into a power strip with that. They have special cords, which, oh, it's on my, oh, actually, 1 second. I got it all. You gotta have the right cord for the right job. Sometimes that's the type of cord you plug it into, that type. Because it handle a load. Cords are like hoses of water. You gotta have the right cord. If you don't have the right cord, the hose will break with the extension cord and start fire. Yeah, we went over a lot of material. We've tried to keep it simple. Just to recap, outside, just stay away from wires. That's pretty easy, okay? Birds are special. Now, this is my Easter bird. He's somewhere on the table. An Easter bird. There you go.
He's always at my feet.
Well, he's hungry too. It's not on winter, okay? But he can go on the wires because he doesn't touch the ground. We say wires are for the birds. Anything near wires, any questions, call the light department. They're very simple. Anything in the ground, call DigSafe. Assume all wires are dangerous. And I know you seniors, knock off your texting and driving. But indoors, water and electricity don't mix. If you ever see anyone being hurt by electricity,
Oh, wow.
oh yeah, bad habits, always unplug things, okay?
Yeah, but always unplug coffee
Yeah,
pots, toasters.
toasters. If somebody's
I
being
usually
hurt,
unplug it.
there you go. Just call 911. You never want to touch or go near anybody being hurt by electricity. Always get the first responders. You touch them, you can walk on. So that's simple inside. And just go home and inspect the things in your house. We gave you a nice little checklist. Use common sense.
Yeah.
See where your heat is, your extension cords are, how it's plugged in. And when you go to the store, I mean, if you have any questions, I know the new lights, I'll be up here. I know we've run through a lot. If you got questions on lights, keep an eye. And remember, if you have heating pad or electric blanket, do not use Bengay underneath them. It can catch on fire. Okay, it has a petroleum-based gel. A lot of people don't understand that. A lot of emergency room accidents, especially with the winter.
Yeah, now that you're thoroughly terrified.
No!
No, I'm not. I
It's not
could
too bad.
just say something, but I won't.
Yeah. Really?
We're on
Why start now?
This is family.
Gay anymore is all I'll say.
Well, they sell a lot of it, sports green, believe it or not, so be careful. But, thank you, and before you go, Dave, you wanna help me pass out some?
Yeah, I want to talk to you a
Sure,
little bit
sorry.
before we go.
I have one more question for Dave too.
I like to get a picture of the big group before you put it on you.
And you know those towers that have all those antennas on them, like the one over in Groveland on the big hill?
Yeah.
I see about 15 to 18
Charlie, you live in town?
vultures.
Come on now.
Yeah.
There you go. How you doing?
Hey, I got a bunch of questions for you.
All right, let's bring them on. Well, let me just,
Yeah.
Thank
there you
you.
go. These are really neat.
Very good.
I love, you put it right in your fridge and
Thank you very much.
and it blinks. You can even use it as a Christmas ornament.
There you go.
It's like
Put
a
it on top
mothball
of your tree.
holder. It's like a mothball holder.
Thank you for coming. Did that answer your questions?
The chicken runs up easier.
Oh, what?
So
It usually moves faster.
I want to thank Ray. We cover a lot of the same material because it's important, and then other things. He's always looking out there in the business, and when things happen, events occur, he studies them and wants to bring that information and get that information out. And I thank Ray for that. He does a nice job. I think. Now,
When do you
I work for the municipal, I travel. My home base
You
is
have an
Shrewsbury.
office where?
Yeah, Shrewsbury, Mass.
Okay,
I grew up in the industry just like Dave, and when I was going to school, they said, you know, things were changing, and we need to get the information out to the public. And that's what we try to do, is to help keep you safe and let you know what the municipal world is like. And Dave came up through the ranks, so he knows what goes on. He just doesn't sit in the office on the computer all day, so he knows what's out there.
Well, some days. I try not to.
We don't think that.
But now, so if there's any questions that have that given you some concern from what you've learned here, anything outside the house, give us a call. Anything inside, call an electrician, call the electrical inspector. If you know an electrician, just look at, you know, we went to this talk and we talked about these things. I have some concerns, can I talk to you? The electrical inspector probably won't like me saying that, but hey, give him a call. He's a great electrician too, especially here in town. Mark Unger, and he can give you an opinion on, you know, what you should be doing. And another thing I just want to touch on real quick, because this is really what is. When's the last time it's been open?
Oh, it was
Get
just
my reading glasses?
No.
Hot water.
Oh, I used hot water.
Hot water.
You're gonna
I'll
tap
break
it
the
with a butter
interfacial
knife.
tension.
Yeah, there you go.
I'm trying to get this talk out, but it's getting
Go
tough.
ahead.
Is rates, okay? The rates, the National Grid territory
We didn't
around
want that
us,
flavor anyway.
for the last 6 months, they've been 24 cents a kilowatt hour for residential. And while we were 16 cents. Okay? And they
Not
just,
gonna give up.
they just,
Better do it.
Want a hammer?
wow.
Get it out of here,
Good
so
catch.
it's not just
How old is that?
So they have a different business model than us, the investor owns, and Ray briefly talked about it. They're a for-profit organization, we're non-profit, we're owned by you. Our governing principles, values are low rates and reliability. And we can work in that manner. We're fortunate enough to be able to run the organization that way. The investor owns, they have to make a profit beholden to their shareholders, not their renters. It's just a different scene. So the last 6 months, they were about 24 cents a kilowatt hour. Power is very expensive. And there's a lot of factors that are driving power up, especially in this region. We were fortunate we were able to stay down around 16. We were quite a bit less than that. They've recently gone out for contract and secured the power for the next 6 months. They've only been able to come down to about 19 cents. So for our neighbors in the National Grid territory, we feel good for them, but they're still not as cheap as we are. And we have a much better record for keeping the power too. And so I'll tell you, I've been in the business a long time, over 20 years, and this is the first time I've actually lived in a municipal, even though I've worked for 4 of them. And I love it too, even though I'm the manager, I just love the way it's set up. I've been in the grid systems, it's taxing at times, it's aggravating, it certainly is. So I'm glad that your experience is great, and my door's always open. If you have any concerns, you know, and other than that, we're just gonna keep doing what we do, and hopefully everybody is okay with it. Yeah, so we're down across town off Woodlawn Road and Searle, down near Martell Way. So we're down there, we're co-located with one of our substations that feeds that area. So that's where our offices are, in our trucks.
Dave, I do have one question.
Sure.
It's silly, but I'm gonna ask. When the power comes from the pole into the house,
Yes.
how much of a sag should be in that line that goes? I sometimes see, especially at my place, there seems to be a lot of sag. Does it matter?
Yeah, it does matter, and there are clearances that are covered
Right.
under the National Electric Safety Code. And if you're concerned about it, give the office a call,
Okay.
and we'll go out and check it.
All right, it's not the towers then, it's what the clearance is.
Shouldn't be too tight, shouldn't be too loose, and there's a bunch of reasons for that. Well, clearance, you clearance from the
I
ground.
don't really need a cut.
Oh, well, I was just saying to call us.
I'm
on
down
that.
all the time.
Oh, okay. So, just let us know, we can go out and check it. Right, too tight's bad,
Yeah,
too loose is bad. Normally, in that case, somebody can go up and reach it, and that's
Yeah.
not a good condition either. Too tight and any type of
Just
snow
something
or
I've
wind
noticed,
loading, it's gonna break.
you know, it's just something I've noticed. I mean, it's not dragging down, something, big truck's gonna hit it, but.
Yeah,
just
well, we'll
see.
look at it and check
Okay.
it. Yeah, that's a quick one. The guys can go out and look at that. Anybody else?
Dave, can you mention the West Street, the accident that happened where they put the cross? Do you remember that, or were you here then?
I've been here for 2 years.
Okay.
Are you talking about, wasn't one of our guys?
No, no, what happened was, a car ran into the pole,
Yeah,
right? The friend of theirs, the wire hit the car, so a friend of theirs ran over to take the wire off the car. That's where the cross is. It's for him who
how
tried
long
to,
ago was that?
years ago. It's right
Yeah, I
in the middle of
don't-
West Street. If you drive down West Street, you'll see a cross where
Right.
the family marked the spot where he died.
Really?
Yeah.
Jeez, I did not know that. Look, going back to that, and I've been there several occasions, I've responded to things like this. As Ray said, if you hit a pole and you're on that pole, just put your hands in your lap and stay there. No matter what, no matter what. Now, if the car is smoking and on fire, you have to make a tough choice. But as Ray said, get out, shuffle away as much as you can, and the reason being, if the car's on fire, we may have, the circuit might be bleeding into the ground. And as you walk and step, you can actually get hit through your extremities. It's less likely to happen if you shuffle across. It's a lot to take in. This is very, very rare occurrence that these things happen. But the best thing to do is just put your hands in your lap, don't touch the steering wheel, don't touch the door handles, and wait till somebody gets there and clears the outside of the car and tells you it's safe to come out, a firefighter or a lineman.
You can.
Yeah, I would. I would call somebody.
But you want to hear a story, we do the schools, and the kids will say, what happens if we don't have self-service? I said, I gotta tell you a secret, there was life before cell phones. They look. Yeah, but no, because all the power's on, they call, we get there. Dave does a great job, he's happy to be here. But you know what you can do? Share this with your friends, talk it up, get a network, and what you learn here, you could probably save somebody else's life. The kids do that, they share it with their parents, they take home the books, it's working.
What about the curly light bulbs? They're all.
Compact fluorescents. It seems like the business, we as you may or may not know, is incandescent bulbs are a thing of the past.
Okay.
For a bunch of reasons. They went to I don't know if we have an example there, but they went to the compact fluorescents, which were great because they give off the same lumens, the same light, at a tiny fraction of the power usage. The problem is that they're a problem to dispose of, and they don't last as long, supposedly, as the LEDs. But I think that the LEDs are so new now, they're when you showed me that bulb, Ray, I have a couple of those I lost within a year, too. It's supposed to be 20 years. And I put them to the side, so I think they might be going through some growing pains. I think the LEDs are the way to go, and, certainly, the life of the bulb is key. I mean, if you're gonna drop, you're gonna get the same light out of a device, it's gonna be, in his example there, it's gonna be $7 less a year, but that other bulb was only gonna last you a couple of years. This other bulb is supposed to last 20 years, 15, 20 years, so you can just do the savings pretty easily.
I have another question.
Sure.
I have receptacles in my house that won't house the new bulbs. They only house the old ones.
They should be compatible.
They should.
Well,
If they're not, then look, and you should be able to find one that's compatible. That wasn't changed, and they wouldn't
More
have,
and more,
they
there's
wouldn't have
some ones
mandated
that
that.
all right.
Yeah, and if you have like a small receptacle for like a vanity light or something, they make LEDs that size too.
No, these are two hall lights.
See, they have-
Oh, is that right?
they show
Yeah.
you like that. This one
When
right
I
here is
put
a
a bulb
three-way.
in it, all it does is flash.
Really?
This one here's a three-way.
Well, if you-
Maybe I'll try one
If
of
it's
the
on
new
a
ones.
dimmer or something, they have to be rated for dimmers, you gotta do a little bit of reading on that.
Come on up, I'll talk to you when we're done.
What about the telephone calls? You get one that says, if you press 5, we'll show you how to reduce your light, your electric bill and everything like that. You must be getting those. And the other one is the solar energy.
Okay, yeah. We're a little different setup where no entity by law can come into a municipal light department and sell power. We are the only person that can sell power to you. So if somebody calls you about putting solar panels on the roof that you don't own, we'll put them on for free, and then we'll charge you 2 cents under what you pay. They can't do that. They may not know that, that's why they're on the phone with you, but it's interesting. They've called me and I've had to set them straight. They just don't know. Legally, that can't be done. We are the only entity that sells power in this service territory. So a lot of, you pay me to go out and find efficiencies in the market, and that's what we do. And I do research myself. We have energy analysts that are looking at the market and trying to find good deals, if you will, for lack of a better phrase. And we've been pretty successful at this level. The investor owns, they put their power out to bid for a 6-month period, and they solicit bids, they pick the low one, boom, 24 cents a kilowatt hour. Okay, we do it a little bit different. Us, okay, we have a portfolio, and I'm constantly filling in pieces and looking for cheap pieces. I watch the gas and oil market more than you know. And when I see things drop, I might be able to grab a cheap piece of power. It might only be 6 months or something, but I'll fill that in. It might be out in 17. And that's what I do. And I spend more time than I thought I was going to do on that. But that's what it's all about. I live here too. And there are some things that we're just not going to be able to control. Power is going up, and there's nothing any of us can do. But I will tell you this: we will most assuredly be lower than the investor owners, and your lights are going to stay on. That I guarantee you, better than they do. What's that?
Something in the news said power was coming down.
It is coming down for this period, and this region, the investor owns will be about 19 cents. So they've come down a little bit, which was expected. That period, what we in the business call the shoulder months, it's the periods of low usage, your springs and your fall, and even the summer has been cooler, so it's been less usage. All of it brings the prices down. So, yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. It's always a pleasure. I love coming in. Is there ice cream somewhere? Has somebody say that?